hello to you. Oh, it's a late start on account of the fact that the software that we use is rubbish. And it's taken, let's have a look, 45 minutes to get this working. So not best pleased, but we're here now. Finally. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, what I thought was talking about model railways in the media, and this is an area which certainly over the last few years does seem to have picked up a bit with all sorts of programmes on television. It does seem as though model railways have become sort of almost a hot topic on television. Now, it's been probably a good few decades since this last happened. Certainly, there used to be programmes about model railways. But we've kind of gone through this huge fallow period. And then the series, which I know particularly well, Biggest Little Railway, when that finally came along, I know a lot of people poo-pooed it and almost willed it to fail. And you know who you are. But it was quite staggering, actually, at the time, why people within the hobby would almost have a vested interest in programs that are trying to portray the hobby failing. And I've seen this subsequently with Great Model Railway Challenge, certainly the first series. An awful lot of people seem to be poo-pooing that and willing that to fail, which I find really just quite peculiar. It didn't fail, did very well. Biggest Little Railway did exceptionally well as well. So, both of these series have proved the naysayers wrong, but I don't know why it should be that a lot of people do seem to actually Oh, I'm being mithered as well. This is the other thing. Hold on a moment. Sorry. Right. And I'm going to put that to silent because it's been irritating the hell out of me all day with people mithering me no end. But let's see, who's in the house? Let's see, Monday, the Jenny Monday... Oh, I'll start again. The Monday Jenny Club. Train Sporting Southeast, hello to you. Leslie Gilpin, A up to you. Gamehammer Classic Gaming, good to see you got it going, hun. Yeah, 45 minutes of messing about with this computer to get it working. Michael's Afol, good morning to you from Australia. Gosh, we do get a lot of people in from the land down under, from Oz. Although from your point of view, we're the land down under. Flymo Chairman 1 beat me to it there. A up to you as well. Train Sporting Southeast just got back from work. Oh, well, I put this on silent. I put it on silent. So why is it dinging? Where were we? Just got back from working on well, it says Flying Scoutsman, but I'm sure that autocorrect is messing you about there. It does that to me a lot. I presume you've been out at work with Simon A.C. Martin. He gets around as well. He was doing some stuff with Clanline too. Mark Rice, GWR, hello. Mark Rice, Didcot, Jenny. Good to see you along too. Dragon Junction, good evening to you. RML Bobby D, volume's a bit low. Right, let's see. Is that helping in any way? I'm very conscious. I don't want it to go up so loud that it redlines and distorts. So, is that all right for people? Is that about the right volume? Do we need more? Do we need less? Let's have a look down some of the comments whilst we're waiting to see if anybody will tell me if the sound levels are all right there. Graph B, hello to you. Charles Curtis, hi to you. Dragon Junction says volume's fine, brilliant. Perfect volume from Ralph West as well, brilliant. AD Pullen, hi Jenny. TV shows like A Touch of Frost, London's Burning, etc. put the hobby in a bad light. I must admit, I don't really watch a lot of TV. It's a little bit peculiar for somebody who does either appear on or works in TV programmes a lot. But, it's a bit like decorators. Decorators normally have very scruffy houses in need of a lick of paint, because the last thing you want to do when you get home from work is, do that kind of thing. Let's have a look. Mark Wilson. All right, Miduck, I'm from the Leicester Railway Society. Oh, right. Yes, your local line would be the Great Central Railway. My parents used to live in Rothley a long, long time ago. So somewhere, I keep meaning to dig them out. I've got some photographs of the Great Central Railway in very, very early days. Train Sporting South East, did you watch Hornby programme on BBC Four? Again, I don't watch a lot of TV, if anything at all. So I didn't watch it. I am aware of it. In fact, I've done some work for the production company that made it, although I was not in any way involved in that. But I'm hoping it painted the hobby in a good light. That was more of a sort of fly on the wall at Hornby type thing. But what was I going to say? Oh yes, yes. Meanwhile, back at the ranch. But no, I think it's weird. It's almost like the crab bucket thing. I think a lot of people who come out against these kind of TV programs, I'm guessing in part maybe there's some degree of jealousy, and also the fact that it's a lot of opinionated people in our hobby. Opinionated insofar as we all have our ways and means of doing things, and our differing reasons for making models. But one of them, I guess, is that it's this little miniature world we have ultimate full control over every aspect of. So when TV programs turn up with model railways in the media, then it's the kind of thing that we take the view, well, that's not how I would have done it, and maybe there's an element of that. I'm not really sure, but let's have a look down through the comments. Train Sporting South East, just servicing my model terriers. I presume that these are the old Hornby stroke Daypole ones. I find they don't tend to need an awful lot of servicing at all. They are, for their sins, pretty reliable. Alright, today's booze is Magners cider. I never used to like cider, actually, it has to be said. But the last few years, I've kind of gone onto the cider bandwagon. Let's have a look. RML Bobby D, I've recorded BBC Four but not watched it yet. Is it worth watching? I have heard it said that it is. Let's have a look. Mark Wilson, did you not have a super new resident on the Great Central? 50017 Royal Oak. Class 50, the Hoover. They are actually, they grow on me actually, and it's strange in a way because a lot of the larger mainline diesels I don't really have a lot of interest in. I just simply cannot locate my interest in things like Class 47s, things like that, or Class 56s. There's a lot of locomotives just don't tickle my fancy. But Class 50, don't know what it is. Class 50 seem to quite like. There's something aesthetically quite pleasing about them. Steve Hearn, morning from New Zealand. Oh well, evening here, but morning to you. I don't think we've had anybody from New Zealand who's actually said in the open chat that they're from New Zealand before, but I'm sure we've had people from New Zealand before. Whereabouts? North or South Island? I must admit, New Zealand is one of those places that I would love to go and visit. I probably have to do a 3 or 4 weeks spread across Australia, New Zealand, Tasmania, places like that. Maybe even island hop back across the Pacific. Quite like to go and see New Caledonia, Fiji. I'd love to go to see Truck and Truck Lagoon as well. Let's have a look. Dragon Junction, most of them don't have layouts. That's probably actually true. The people who criticise the most, it's like my mother always used to say, empty vessels make the most noise. And I think I've told this story before. My father, with his model traction engines, he'd always get some people, he'd be like, oh, you've done that wrong, oh, that's wrong, oh, you've not done that quite right. And when he would gently inquire, he would find out that they were just armchair rivet counters. They were never the kind of people who had built things themselves, because those who build have a better appreciation of what kind of effort goes into making these sort of things. And I'm sure you're all well aware of this. That there's a lot of time and effort goes into building these things. Sorry, I'm coming down with I keep getting sinus infections at the moment. Oh, it's probably horrible, that echoing down the microphone. But yeah, so I totally agree with you, Dragon Junction. It's probably the case that a lot of them don't have layouts. Transporting southeast. Well, I got paycheck today and got days off doing my traction engine steam locomotives and spending in my model shop. Yes, making the local economy go on round. I must admit, I've spent an unhealthy amount of money on mostly on track wood and insulation. The wood and insulation is fairly self-explanatory, and I guess the track is as well. But so far, I think I've got through between 60 and 75 yards of track up in the loft, and I'll be honest with you, it doesn't look like there's a lot of track there. Steve Hearn, Paraparaumu near the capital Wellington. Ah, right. Fair enough. I mean, is it actually a lot like when you watch Lord of the Rings? Is the countryside in New Zealand like what you see in Lord of the Rings a lot? I'm just very curious. I've been told that New Zealand is a little bit like somewhere like the North Yorkshire Moors or the Lake District or the Great Glen, but with nicer weather, was how New Zealand was described to me. I don't know. Is that kind of how it goes? Let's have a look. RML Bobby D. Anyone on board from East Yorkshire? There's a show on Saturday at Wetwang. The late Richard Whiteley's mayoral village. Yes, thrice nightly Whiteley. He of the deck chair's suit. I think every time you saw him in a suit, you were thinking that there was a deck chair somewhere missing its seat. He was a lovely character. A stalwart of Yorkshire television, and will be sadly missed. But yeah, I always remember watching Countdown, and he'd bring out the Wetwang Gazette or the Wetwang Titler, whatever the local magazine was. I think Wetwang was put on the map by Richard Whiteley before he got made the honorary mayor. I don't think anybody had ever heard of the place. Dragon Junction. You won't be watching my layout then, Jen. Modern image. Well, no, it doesn't mean I can't appreciate the models. And that's the thing. It's that the models I pretty much always appreciate because I recognise the kind of skill, effort and time that's gone into making them. But the full-size thing, the prototypes, not really all that interested. Let's have a look. Seabury Station. Your horn works, Jen. What about the indicators? Oh, my indicators never work. I keep getting told I should be fitted with indicators when I'm shopping. It's like, oh look, oh I shall stop here and I shall look. I'm very much I'm bimble, sort of meander when I'm out shopping. Mark Wilson, Jennifer, do you weather your locos? No, I don't. Locos and rolling stock, I leave well alone. I'll be honest with you. It's always been my opinion that unless you are very, very good at weathering, you can basically ruin a very expensive item of rolling stock with a poor weather job. And it's, sometimes you see them on eBay where people go, look at Pro Weathered, and they've clearly just hosed it down with brown paint from an airbrush, and it looks like it just looks like it's covered in mud. So it's very easy to do a bad weathering job, and I recognise that other people are far better than me at stuff like weathering. So what I tend to do is I'll buy the factory weathered stuff a lot of the times from some of the manufacturers. Not all of them. Looking at you, Daypole, some of your weathering's a bit naff. But Bachmann and, particularly Bachmann, but Hornby's actually coming through as well on this. They use the tempo printing process to create like rust patches, things like that. And it is just so amazing. I look at them and think, there's, even a pro weatherer who's incredibly good at doing weathering would struggle to match some of the finishes that they're getting. Let's have a look. Mr. Dreaded 88. Hi Jenny, nice to see you. I missed the drink of choice. Drink of choice today is Magnus cider. It's, you know, I got into cider comparatively recently. Didn't used to be a cider drinker, but I found it quite refreshing. Kind of, I wax and wane on and off wine, on and off the wine. I'm sorry. Over there, I've got a camera, and I'm looking at. There's some guy just milling around in the middle of the road. What are you doing, my friend? Oh, he's on the phone. Oh, right, there we go. Ned's Trains. Hello, Jenny. Nice to see you again. Nice to see you too. It's always good to have you all through and meet up with you. I know we were late starting this evening, and that was due to obstinate obs not really playing ball. It kept booting up and then wouldn't actually use the microphone, despite the fact the microphone was turned on. And there's like a big sound mixer up here, and all the little lights on all the different channels were flashing away. But oh no, not good enough for OBS. So that was really quite a trial, but we got there in the end. Let's have a look. RML Bobby D, LOL Jen. Yes, he was a lovely man. Now passed on to Paul Hudson, the weatherman. Oh right, okay. So they have found themselves a new mayor of Wetwang. Oops, sorry. So have the deck chair suits been passed on as well, or has he got a style to himself? Let's have a look. Mark Rice. Hi Jen, please help. Got Airfix steam train coal bunker pickup with Traxsun. How do you remove to replace? Oh, traction tires. I couldn't tell you. I'll be honest with you. Traction tires you can probably get from a model shop or even from Airfix. Depending on the model, it may still be in manufacture either with Hornby or with Daypol. So if you're able to find that out, you may be able to contact them and they'll send you spare parts if you ask very nicely. Well, they'll charge you for them. And it's simply a case of you tease the old ones out with the tiny little jeweler's screwdrivers are about the best. And then feed the new traction tyre over. Just, careful not to pinch it or nick it or anything. But you'll get it worked into the groove and then jobs are good. Let's have a look. Philip Page. I was at ELR Spring Steam Gala on Friday. Video on my channel. Ah, brilliant. East Lancs Railway's a pretty good line. And they have quite an intensive service. Because the way it runs, they have some trains that only go as far as Ramsbottom or Rawtenstall, and then some that do the full line, and then they treat the line out to Haywood and back almost like another branch. And if you ever go into the signal box, it's like a one engine in steam spur almost. There's not really any signalling, so to speak, on that line. It's simply a case of when a train goes into it, nothing else goes into it until that train comes back out. Aiden 0206, hello everyone. How are you today, Jen? I am grand, thank you. Apart from this sinus infection, it feels like I've been punched in the nose. It's just the septum in the middle. It just aches like anything. So not really quite sure what's going on there. I'm also a little bit of a one-woman snot machine at the moment, so you'll have to excuse me. So, as my mum would say, oh, Queen Mary's coming into dock. Let's have a look. Mark Wilson, Jennifer, what was your first loco or train set? Well, I suppose the very, very first one is I inherited from my father his old Hornby 00 layout, and he only had 3 locomotives at the time. Actually, no, he didn't have 3, 4, 5. No, he had 5 Hornby 00 locomotives and a couple of Triang ones, but we only ever used the 3-rail, so there was 3 3-rail locos. One was an N2 in BR Black 69567. Then there was a 264 4MT tank locomotive 80054. And the final locomotive was a bit of an oddball, but kind of handy because they turned out to be quite a rare locomotive, was the Class 28 Metrovic Kobo. He also had a very battered up City of London and a Stanier 8F with the number, was it 48073? There were obviously two rail ones. Now, interestingly, the 48073 was the Ringfield motored one, so it was the later one, and they're actually quite a good model. The old Hornby 00, later Wren, 280 Stanier 8Fs are actually a really good model. He had actually salvaged the 48073, the 8F, and the City of London, and there was a Triang Princess Elizabeth, but no tender, and he'd actually found them in a dustbin. He'd seen some lengths of track poking out of a dustbin, investigated. This was back when he was a teenager, and found the two locomotives, some bits and pieces of track, and some wagons, coaches, that kind of thing. And he saved them all, and they went into the collection. The only things that he saved that are still sort of pride and joy in the collection is the Stanier 8F, because they're quite hard to get, that running number. But after that, we added to that. I can remember one Christmas getting Silver King, again Hornby 00 Silver King, and some of the coaches to go with it, tinplate coaches, and then what else? When I got back into railway modelling after university, my first locomotive was 51222, which was an ex-Lancashire and Yorkshire Pug in BR livery. It was one of the Hornby models. In fact, when Hornby first reintroduced it into the range, they brought it out in three different running numbers: 51018, 51218, 51222, and 51235, I think it was. But that's one of the reasons why that locomotive has a particular fond place in my heart. Is it that side? Which side's the heart on? I don't know which side my heart's on. I could probably feel for it. But anyway, wherever it is, that's what... Oh, this stuff's sinking in now, isn't it? Right, anyway, I like transport. Hello, sorry I'm late. Don't worry about it. No. Nobody's ever late. You just dip in and out as and when you want to, and that's fine. I was late, actually, so you haven't actually missed as much as you think you have, because it took me 3/4 of an hour to get the software working, which meant that I was half an hour late to my own live stream. So you've not actually missed an awful lot. I think we've only been going 23 minutes. Frank Feely, evening all, just hanging about, listening to the conversation. Grand. Good to have you along. Always good to have you all along. Always nice to see you, and also always nice to see your comments and answer your questions. Let's have a look. Steve heard the track head treatment trains get quite mucky, so maybe up for a touch of brown spray. Mine got weathered by house dust. Yeah, a lot of my stuff gets house dust weathering. 57305 Northern Princess, the heart is in the middle. I'll take your word for it. I'm not very good at biology. Angus's Trains, hi to you. Another Aussie in. So we've got at least two Aussies here tonight. Flymo Chairman 1, is that the fiberglass and other dust from the attic? Is what? Sorry. No, I'm blowing my nose because I've got a cold. People are obsessed with this sort of dust from the attic. There is no dust. It's all cleaned up. And I was wearing a mask when I was doing a lot of stuff, so don't worry about that. Let's have a look. Michaels _ Aphol. On the left side or both sides if you're a Time Lord. Yes, there are Doctor Who reference. Boom! Good to see that. Angus's Trains, ho ho, hi ho, Christmas 1900. Christmas 1900. Would that have been sort of the era of Charles Dickens and stuff? Anyway, it's good to see you again. Paul Wilco, slightly to the left. Your left lung is slightly smaller because of it. Boring fact. No, not boring fact. So slightly to... It's on the left. So it's over here somewhere. Let me just... Oh, yeah, I can feel it. Aiden0206. What is your favourite livery? Oh, that's a toughie, actually. I'm really quite taken by the Southeastern and Chatham Railway fully lined out livery. The one that the old C-Class from Bachmann was originally released in. And then later on, Hornby have brought out a Terrier and the Wainwright H-Class in. That I really do like. Other liveries. Midland Railway Crimson Lake always looks quite nice. I think that's a colour that does just suit locomotives. But then also, what else? I think Brunswick Green as well, on like later period BR express locomotives. The Brunswick Green always looks good. So green's a really good colour. I'm trying to think of any others. No, I think the Southeastern and Chatham Railway livery, that's a good one. I do like the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway, that sort of burnt umber livery. So real sucker for pre-grouping liveries. So yeah, other liveries. RTC liveries quite good. Oh, and regional railways and intercity executive. I do like those as well. So both ends of the scale there. We've got Southeastern and Chatham Railway, sort of well, not even pre-1923, probably about pre-1915, 16 or so, because they also had the later wartime austerity grey. But then right up to late 80s, early 90s with regional railways and that. Right, let's have a look. Cranky Chris, just dipped in myself, also running late, a bit like Northern. No, don't. I keep saying... You're not late. I was late. I was half an hour late to my own live stream due to software issues. Trainspotting Southeast. Jen, what do you think of the Bachmann Deltic? Right. The Bachmann prototype Deltic, which you can get from the National Railway Museum, is an amazing locomotive. I love that locomotive. It's very, very well done, and I cannot recommend it more highly. The main production run Deltic... I've had mixed views about those. The buffers are very prone to falling out, and they were also a fairly early on released locomotive. They're all right, but those buffers keep falling out on me. I've got I did have two, but I swapped one to get my Gauge Master DCC controller, so I think I got a good deal on that. So the one I've got left is 55020, which is Nimbus, and I do need to source some new buffer heads for them. They just fall out and get lost. Philip Page, which loco are you thinking of getting next? Now, I've got a number on order, and I think it's the J36 is rumoured to be the next one to land, and I've got that on order in North British Railway livery with the TTS sound, factory fitted. Now I've been waiting for that since before Christmas, and by rights it should be here by now. They've already released at least one, possibly two livery variants of that, so I'm really just wondering what the delay is, but I would expect that to be my next locomotive acquisition, because I'm not letting the shiny kick in too much, because the money's getting diverted to paying for stuff like track, wood, insulation. That sounds like a very strange night in. So what are you doing this evening? Oh, I've got track, wood and insulation. Just a quiet night in, really. There's also the Ruston Hornsby 48DS and the Peckett B2. We'll see when they turn up. But I was in Arcadia Models on, I think it was Saturday. Other model shops are available. Arcadia is a particularly good one. I do keep saying this. No commercial affiliation, just a very satisfied customer. And I was ever so tempted by a second-hand Collet Goods in GWR livery that he had on the second-hand table, but I had to resist, just simply because I had to buy points. So let's have a look. Mark Wilson, hi Jennifer. What will the shed now become now the railway is gone? What about a summer house gin bar with a Pullman theme? Ha no, not a gin bar. Trouble is, some of the little oiks around here, if they knew there was alcohol there, they'd break in and nick it. It will just be a garden shed. I am going to remove the railway. I will build down one side a workbench. I think that's quite handy and useful. I've got a big vise, actually, a bench vise that I can then mount to it. And it'll probably get mostly used for storing gardening tools, stuff like the barbecue, garden furniture, and also parts to do with the Volvo. I've got a burgeoning pile of spare parts, and what will probably happen is that they'll just all find home in there. So that's really what's planned for the shed. It's like the plan is there is no plan. Kev Hunter, is the loft bigger than your shed? Oh yes. I conservatively estimate that in terms of actual baseboard area, there is at least, if not more, than 6 times the area that the shed had. And certainly the area in the middle where I go and where guests go is now actually substantially bigger. So you can imagine 6 times the baseboard space and probably 6 to 7 times the actual empty space in the middle, which allows me to move around and do things. It's actually a lot better because it was just a little bit too tight in the shed. Mark Rice, Abingdon Model Railways exhibition on Saturday 16th of March. Can't wait to see Didcot A plant power station. Wish it was there one day. I have seen that model. I'm not going to that exhibition. Sorry about that. But I have seen that model and it is really good. In fact, if you have a look at my last set of Worley videos, I did get some video footage of that model. I'm also doing, I think the weekend after, if any of you are at Alexandra Palace Model Railway exhibition, I have been booked to do, it's not a panel event, they're not doing a panel event, which is a shame because I quite like doing panel events, doing for sci-fi related stuff. So I've never done one actually for railway modelling related things, but I'd love to do that. I think it would work quite well. And it probably shoehorns us back towards our model railways in the media topic that are sort of veering off and going off on a massive tangent. So if you go into Alexandra Palace, I am being interviewed on the MRC stand on both days. So you can go down there, and it's basically, imagine like a Shed Chat live, as in you're in the actual same room as me. Lawrence Robbins is doing the questions, so I'm not sure whether there's any means to actually get questions to him. I just like you see him at the show, slip him, say, hey, could you ask Jenny this? But yeah, this weekend, one of the main reasons that I'm not even going to be up in the loft this weekend, is that it is my 40th birthday. Yeah, I know. It comes around quick, doesn't it? It only seems like yesterday that I was at primary school. So it's just amazing how the time goes. But yeah, I'm 40. It's also, conveniently, my 10th wedding anniversary. Because when I was planning my wedding, I said, I want to get married on my birthday. And there was 2 reasons for this. One, I'd always liked the idea of being married before I was 30, and technically I managed it by about 20 minutes because I found out from my mother exactly what time of the day that I was born, and made sure that the ceremony happened before that. So I ended up, I was married before I turned 30 by 20 minutes. But the other reason that it's on my birthday is because I'm rubbish at remembering dates and anniversaries. So if it's on my birthday, there's one less date to try and remember. I still cannot remember my father's birth date. I've known him for 40 years, and I know it's in August. I've narrowed it down to August, but I always forget which day in August is his birthday. It's very embarrassing. Philip Page, did you watch the James May programme on Hornby? What did you think of it? I didn't watch it, and we talked a little bit about this earlier on. I don't watch TV, generally speaking. We can't even watch live TV here. We used to have the means to watch live TV up until about 6 or 7 years ago, and I never watched anything. And neither did Zoe. And we came to the conclusion that it was a tremendously expensive way to watch Doctor Who for Zoe, and maybe occasionally, if I was off work, to watch an odd Grand Prix. And we thought, well, hold on. For what we're paying for a TV licence, we could actually just buy the box set. So we got rid of our means to watch live TV, no longer needed a TV licence, and I'll be honest with you, we haven't missed it. But it means I haven't watched it, but I have heard good things about it. Stuart Muir, hiya Jenny, do you intend to get the Bachmann Western Pullman train pack? See, that's one of the things. I've seen the price on it, and that is quite a price. So I think it would be a case of it would have to turn up second hand, or an awful lot of you would have to put a load of money into Patreon or buy a load of my books or something, I don't know. And then all of a sudden it'd be like, I've got money to burn, let's go and buy one. So the original Midland Pullman, I would have liked one actually, but the prices were a bit high, and they are higher still. So no immediate plans to, but that doesn't mean that I wouldn't if one turned up at the right price, it has to be said. Let's have a look. At the movies, hello to you. It's always good to have new people on here, and also that's the I need to say oh, is that thing, when you got a witty retort and you go to inhale to go aha, and you inhale a little bit of spit. I've just done that. Oh god, my eyes are watering. So as I always say, it's always good for there's probably a lot of people sort of lurking, for want of a better word. Feel free to chip in, add your 2 penneth worth, ask questions, just say hello. It's always good to hear from you all. Seabreeze Station, have you had any compatibility issues with your DCC controller and locos? Haven't found any as yet. All of the chips that I've had have worked perfectly. All of the locomotives that I have chipped have worked perfectly. Actually, the one thing I did find, I've got a Class 50 in Network Southeast livery. I think it's Achilles, something like that. But it's one of the earlier Hornby releases of the Class 50. And they've miswired. I think it's supposed to be pin 7 or something like that. It's supposed to be, or pin 5. It's supposed to be common negative, and it's actually wired common positive, or the other way around. But that's the only locomotive I found that's going to need a little bit of work. But everything else has been fine. Train Spotting Southeast. Any news on the Great Model Railway Challenge? Well done to you. Bringing this back round to our topic, model railways in the media. Now, GMRC2, as it's colloquially getting referred to, is happening. They're filming over this summer, and it's going to be slightly different from last time, but not massively different. There's been a few tweaks to the rules, and me saying that should tell you all you need to know about the things that I can't tell you about because of non-disclosure agreements. But certainly watch this space. It looks set to be another series of success. The last series was a success. So, and if any of you are involved, don't tell me. Don't tell everybody else. We'll probably see you on it, sort of thing. But there you are. So yeah, it is going ahead, and it looks really interesting. And I may or may not know the themes, so but I can't talk about them. So you'll just have to watch it. Oh, exciting, isn't it? Let's have a look. Mark Wilson, it's mad that you cannot remember birthdays, but you can remember model loco numbers from the past. That's a really good point, actually. I can remember the running numbers of all of the locomotives which I had as a kid. But I can't remember birthdays. I remember my mother's birthday because it's also my parents' alarm code. So I was forced to learn that if I wanted to be able to turn the burglar alarm on and off when I was a kid. My younger sister, I remember hers because it's the 5th of January, which used to be the day before we went back to school, by and large. So that was an easy one to remember, because you always had to remember when you were doing your Christmas shopping to buy for her. My older sister, May the 11th. I've always remembered that. Don't know why. My grandfather, my grandmother's, never been able to remember theirs. And it's embarrassing to say, but I don't remember any of my nieces or nephews' birthdays. They have to be reminded to me by being marked onto our calendar in the kitchen. And Zoe's very good at remembering stuff like that. So, I don't know. I can remember locomotive numbers quite well. I don't know why that should be. It just kind of happens. I like transport. Are you interested in DMU, EMUs at all? Yeah, actually. Class 101s I was a bit of a fan of. Probably because they were the last bastion of first generation DMUs. So it was the last link that you could ride on with around here, certainly, with the steam era. Was the class 101s that used to trundle around on the sort of North Manchester branches. So always liked those, and I think it was it would be the 117s. I think it might have been 117s. Used to, and we're talking like 1980s. Used to be around. I've in model form. I've got class 101s, 108s, 128s. What else have I got? I've got class 401s, 402s, 411s, 419s as well. What else have I got? Have I got any others? I did have a 150, but I swapped that with somebody for a it was the Hornby King with, I think, 3 Pullman coaches in a box set. I can't remember what it was called. So I got a bargain. You know, I'm a shrewd negotiator. It has to be said. Let's have a look. Ralph West switched off Corrie. You were so much better entertainment. Well, thank you. I mean, I can't claim all the credit. I think Magnus Cider has to claim some of the credit for how silly I get when I've had a few drinks. We also got Dunja, Wood Model Railway. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Hello, been lurking on the threshold for a while. Yeah, welcome aboard. We welcome all, and it's always good to hear from people. So I know that there's quite a lot more people who are watching the stream who just aren't commenting. Don't worry about it. It's not obligatory to comment, but it's always nice to hear from you all. Building the ELR step by step. Hi there, just thought I would say hello. Watching your new build with anticipation. Yeah, I know a lot of people are. There's about 5,000 views for the last episode of Up in the Loft in 2 days, which is pretty good for my channel. I know that there's some channels that I subscribe to that they're up to like 250,000 views in the first couple of hours. How I wish that would happen. But hey, Mark Rice, happy birthday and congratulations to Zoe and Jen from Mark and Tom. Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you. It's one of those things, isn't it? People say to you, 10 years, you get more for murder. You don't. I checked. But yeah, I think our secret is giving each other a lot of space. I think that's probably part of the secret for a good marriage. We respect each other's boundaries, have different hobbies, different interests, but respect that in each other. So I'm in her office now, and it's just like wall to ceiling with computer games. So even down to I don't know if you can read that. Let's have a look. Amstrad CPC 464 Christmas cassette. That's her kind of bag. And if I look around here, what else have we got? Mega Drive games. Remember these? And come here, you. And Super Nintendo Entertainment System, aka the SNES. So there's a lot of stuff going on in here. And I respect that. I actually help her collect them. I've got quite into hunting these things down because I travel up and down the country. So I try and find these things from the places I go to. And in turn, she's quite happy for me to have a hobby, model railways. You know, at the end of the day, I could have worse hobbies. And I think, Zoe likes her space and her personal time. And I guess I do a little bit as well. So we can sit in completely different rooms in the house and not talk to each other for the entire day. And it just works out fine. I think that's the secret. Building the ELR step by step. Am I right in saying, like me, you're a fellow Boltonian? Yeah, actually in Bolton right now. I was born in Bolton, then moved away, moved all around the country, came back to Bolton, then moved away, spent a load of time up in the northeast, and then came back. So this is my third time as a Bolton resident. There must be something in the water. It keeps bringing me back. Oh, actually, it's second and third time. His family brought me back, kicking and screaming in the boot of a car. No, it's not quite like that. Train Sporting Southeast. When are you going to start on the layout for Great Model Railway Challenge? I can't confirm or deny that I'm involved in that. I can neither confirm nor deny that. So I can't tell you. Seriously, I can't tell you. I'd get into trouble if I told you all the ins and outs. So take from that what you will. Mark Wilson, Jennifer, do you have any interest in American railroads or overseas railways? Yes, actually. I actually, for a good long time, I gave up my subscription to Railway Modeler because I found it quite boring. They were obsessed with like 1950s GWR branch line termini and no sort of diesel BR Blue era. They just kind of went away from that. But I subscribed after that to Continental Modeler, which is a very fine magazine. And I'm particularly taken with the American outline layouts. Really do like those. But I'm also starting to get into a lot of Swedish outline stuff. And that's because I do a lot of writing for a magazine called Modelianersfags Magasinet, which is a Swedish model railway magazine. So I get to see a lot of the Swedish outline stuff. And I'm getting quite taken with that. I'm just going to have to scroll up. The comments are coming in quite fast. So let's have a look. Tony Britton. I used to love watching and listening to the late Bob Symes. His enthusiasm for modelling was so very infectious. Yeah, exactly. And it's, again, to kind of lever us back into our original theme of model railways in the media. It harks back to a previous occasion when model railways were compulsive viewing. I think we're coming out of this. Well, the last couple of years we've come out of this fallow period where there wasn't really anything about our hobby, particularly on TV, apart from stereotypes and people taking the rip out of us. But certainly, I vaguely remember Bob Symes, and he was, he was very, very good and very engaging. So it's good in a way that we're getting back to that on TV. The UK Pool 45. Are you a member of a model railway club? I'm not actually. I never have been. I've been along and visited quite a few clubs with various friends. I think the closest I get to having a serious involvement with the Model Railway Club is probably the MRC, the Model Railway Club in London, but only through Lawrence. I've never actually been there, but I've been invited to do some interview, or to be interviewed on over the entire weekend of Alexandra Palace Model Railway Exhibition. So yeah, and Lee Model Railway Club is another one. I've done a few of their exhibitions, and I know a few people who are members, but I've never been a member of a Model Railway Club myself. My father was in the Hornby Railway Collectors Association. I don't know whether that counts, but I wasn't specifically a member. I suppose I was a member via family association. Flymo Chairman 1. My first train set was the early 70s Hornby Pullman set. It got broken on Christmas Day. Hey, the troubles of being the elder sibling. If it happened when I was older, we could have fixed it. Oh gosh, yeah, don't tell me about... I can remember one Christmas. I mean, this goes way, way back. I can remember my parents bought me this. It was like a plastic garage thing, like for toy cars, and it had like doors that open. You put the cars in. And it had this clear roof so you could see the cars inside this garage area. And on Christmas Day, it got mixed up in all the wrapping paper in the excitement of the morning, and my dad managed to tread on it and completely crushed it. So it was like, grand opening, grand closing. I like transport. I'm a big fan of the class 150, 153. Ah, yeah, that's the single car one, isn't it? 156, 158 and 170 DMUs. Although I like all trains. Yeah, they're the sort of the second generation, the earlier second generation, if that makes sense. But yeah, the sort of the nicer ones, as opposed to the sort of 141, 142, 143, 144 type ones. The nodding donkeys, the Leyland buses on wheels. Yeah, I mean, they're not too bad, actually. I don't like the Pendolinos. I find that they always smell like warmed Elsan toilets, and they're just, the seats never quite match up with the windows. Flymo Chairman 1, I guess what you meant. The diesel Pullman. Transporting Southeast. I wonder how many drinks till you starting your spilling secrets on the Great Model Railway Challenge. I can neither confirm nor deny that I'm involved in that. It's the same as like Biggest Little Railway. We could neither confirm nor deny that we were involved for about a year before they filmed it. It was how long I was involved with that. And a lot of these things do take a lot of planning. And I'm trying to think how to phrase this. There's a rumour going round that Great Model Railway Challenge, the second series, may have started recruiting teams before Christmas sometime. I shall just place that there, and we shall leave it there, and it will be happy. And right. So yeah, I'm not going to spill secrets. There's so many secrets in here. I mean, funnily enough, talking about film and television, I saw today on location a lorry which I used to drive a few years ago, belonging to PKE Lighting, and they supply the lighting rigs for film and television, like on location and at studios. And I ran into my old lorry. There it was. Has a Jenny on board, and then the lighting stuff in the back. The generators are actually really good because they're very, very powerful, but you can hardly hear them. The soundproofing is amazing on those things. But it's like good times. I got into Doctor Who, Broadchurch, what else? Wolf Hall, Songs of Praise. stuff like that. I got to visit an awful lot of film studios and stuff in that. I got to see where they were filming Star Wars as well. Some of the studios in the M3 corridor. Can't remember what the studios were called, but yeah. So there's a lot of secrets I know from that particular part of my working career, which I still can't tell you about. I've got photographs of things that I'm not supposed to share. I don't know, now that they've shown the films, it's like photographs of props from The Force Awakens being built, but I was told in no uncertain terms that they were not for public consumption. Alright, let's have a look. Class 37s are really good. I saw 3 earlier. I like transport. Yeah, actually, I'm kind of warming to the Class 37. Cottesmore, I caught 566s in Consis today. Can't beat a modern diesel. So what? A quintuple header. I presume they were moving locomotives between depots for some reason. Philip Page, something in the cider maybe. Yeah, cider. That's what's in the cider. Mark Wilson, did Fred Dibner come from Bolton? As far as I'm aware, yes, he did. He certainly lived here for pretty much all his life. I believe he's a Boltonian born and bred. Vampira, hi guys and girls. Hi to you. Good to see you here again. Always good to have people along. Philip K. Page, hi Dave. Right. I presume you're talking to one of the other people in the chat room. Not a problem. And the movies. Does your husband or partner mind you running around after trains? They don't care, to be honest with you. Zoe really doesn't care. She, as long as she gets to do her hobbies, she's quite happy for me to pretty much do whatever I want, which is pretty good. Let's have a look. Vampira, I am from Sweden. Ah, my grandfather worked on the railway here in the 50s. Ah, interesting. So you can correct my pronunciation of Modeliana Schwag's Magazinette, which is the magazine which I write for a lot. I keep meaning to ask Stefan Nilsson, the editor of the magazine, how it's supposed to be pronounced, because I don't speak or write Swedish at all. But all my work gets translated into Swedish, and for some bizarre reason, he sends me a proof of my article translated into Swedish and says, now if there's any errors or omissions that you spot, let me know and I'll re-edit the text. And it's like, I don't speak or read Swedish, but it's always really good to see something you've written translated into a foreign language. I remember when I started working at the BBC, probably best part of 20 years ago now, I worked as an assistant to a journalist, and he told me that one of his proudest moments was seeing one of his articles that he'd written for a magazine translated into, I think it was Arabic or something. It was the first time he'd been in print in a foreign language. And he had a press cutting from a cutting from the magazine that he had framed, and it was in his downstairs toilet. And he had no idea what it said either. He didn't speak Arabic, but he said it's just the fact that it's like excuse me. So yeah, it's pretty good. Let's have a look. Philip Page, West Orton here. Yeah, West Orton. You may have had Zoe knocking on your door. She's if you're in West Orton North and Chew Moor, she's been going around doing canvassing and stuff. Because election fever. Let's have a look. Nigel Sabine. Sabine. Good to see you along. Hi to you. Always good to have you along. Devans GWR. Hello to you. Always good to have you along. Mark Rice, DMU, do you bouncing up and down Victoria Station to Rochdale on the train? Yeah, the old nodding donkeys used to do that, the 142s. I like transport. Hey, don't offend Pacers. I like Pacers a lot as well. Fair enough. They serve their purposes. Let's have a look. Philip Page, I used the tram from Victoria to Bury. Gosh, I remember when was it the Class 305s used to run on that line. Really old slam door stock. So yeah, gosh, that must be late 1980s, early 1990s. Nigel Sabin. Hi Jenny, I was just wondering what effect you use when you record some of your live videos. They sound like they have the underwater effect. I've noticed this a lot watching your live videos. I don't know, is this happening for anybody else? It shouldn't do that. I mean, what I've actually got here is a professional Behringer microphone. Yeah, it's a Behringer C1 microphone, and then that goes through a Behringer mixing desk up here, and then through a Behringer some kind of bells and whistles module up there, which then goes into the computer. The underwater sound, it may be when I knock the table accidentally, maybe that's making it, but I can only assume that that's the noise that you're hearing. Is it okay for everybody else? I do rely on you all to let me know if it sounds rubbish. I am at your mercy, because all I hear is my own voice in the ambient air here, so I don't get to hear what it sounds like as broadcast. Let's have a look. Cottesmore 14X series of the Pacers. The Nodding Donkeys, the Leyland buses. Then they're a Leyland national bus body, or they're derived from that. 15X are Sprinters as a rule, I think. Yeah, that sounds about right. But the Sprinters are obviously a lot more comfortable. They weren't bad as a second generation thing, but the Pacers were kind of a stopgap that stopped around. Let's have a whoa. Let's have a look. Where are we going? Gosh, you have been busy. I hadn't realised people have been putting in loads and loads of comments. I'm just trying to work my way through. The reason Pendolino smell is that due to a slightly silly design, a vent is in a place that means the smell can easily get in the passenger coaches. Yeah, I'd heard as well that the exhaust goes very close to the waste effluent tank, so heats it up, which doesn't help. Let's have a look. Fly Mode Chairman 1. Remember that garage set? It's such a big thing when you're little, and never saw that Pullman set advertised again. Hey ho. Yeah, sometimes things don't hang around. In completely unrelated news, I'm quite appalled by how limited the Airfix kit selection is. There's kits which I remember which just don't seem to be available, which is quite disappointing. I'm particularly looking for no particular reason, the Flower Class Corvette that Airfix once did. I'm going to have to try and see if I can find a shop that's still got stuff in stock. Not a cheap kit, but apparently not available at the moment. Let's have a look. Integral Edme. What age did you start being fascinated by model railway? Hello from Scotland, by the way. Well, hello to you. Spent some quality time in Scotland, actually, filming model railway stuff. Lovely country. I'm trying to think. Very, very young, it has to be said. I think it was part of my dad's plan. He wanted one of us to be interested in model trains, so he had the excuse to get his model railway out. And I took the bait. I can remember that was the very first house we lived in, which we moved away from when I was about age 3. And I can remember sitting and watching him play trains, but notionally I was playing with the trains too. So that would have been between the ages of like 2 and 3 years old. Right. Let's have a look. Warrington Train Spotter 2778. Did you hear that a handful of Class 91s will be running on the West Coast Main Line towards the end of the year between London and Blackpool? I didn't know that. That's quite interesting, actually. Come on. Let's have a look. Just looking down the comments. I like transport. If you could see 3 Class 37s holding a ballast train or 5 Class 66s, which would you choose to see? Probably the 337s. The 66s don't actually hold a lot of interest to me. Mark Wilson, do you visit preserved railways? Is there one that you would like to but haven't visited yet? I'm going to try and get up to the East Lancs Railway for the first time this year. Yeah, I do. East Lancs Railway, funnily enough, I go to a lot. Been to the Ribble Steam Railway. Over the years, I've been to a lot of others. Tanfield Railway. In fact, actually, in one of my previous jobs, I used to visit a lot of preserved railways because I brought the boiler tubes for steam engine repair. So in that job, I did the Churnet Valley Railway, Tanfield Railway, Weardale Railway. What's the other? Always Weardale, and what's the other one that's close by? It goes into can't remember. There's another one there, and there was Bowes Railway, Beamish, places like that. But I've visited quite a lot of preserved railways. One that I would love to go and visit but never have is the Bluebell Railway. Actually, I'd love to go and visit there. It's just so far down south that it's just impractical for me to go and visit it unless I'm spending a weekend somewhere down there. Right, let's have a look. Building the ELR step by step. It was the class 504 that ran to Bury from Manchester Victoria, and in the process of helping restore one at the East Lancs. Grand. Yeah, I knew it was a 50 something. Third Rail Electrics. Cottesmore. Cab rides are much more fun in the Pendolino than a Voyager, though. Yeah, I presume they would actually. You get a good view out the front. Dragon Junction, the sound is perfect, brilliant. I like Transport, sounds fine. Kev Hunter, it's the table. Yeah, I thought it might be. Let's have a look. Graph B, 305s came from my local lines. Missed the old slam door stock. Yeah, I love the 101s, actually, it has to be said. Right, the UK Pull 45. Do you have any inside information on when Bachmann are going to get their act together and get the new products into the model shop? I don't know. It have to be said. Bachmann have actually really just let the side down a little bit. I know they've had problems with manufacturing, with one of their factories being forced to shut down, and that's hit them a lot. But it also has to remember that Bachmann also make the US outline stuff and the Chinese outline stuff all in the same factories. So the UK outline stuff is vying for production slots with all these other things. So the upside of that is that it's sometimes, the UK outline stuff gets pushed to the back of the queue if there's something which Bachmann Industries feels has a much more commercial potential to it. And that is one of the problems. Let's have a look. Oh, Impatient Tundra. As far as I know, Airfix has never made a Flower Class Corvette. Matchbox made one in 1:72, which was reboxed by Revell. Revell has also made one in a smaller scale. Right, so it's not an Airfix model. That would explain why I can't find it in the Airfix catalogue. I'll have to go and have a look at that. Ralph West, sound is ace, Jenny. No underwater stuff. Yeah, I think it's when I'm catching the table, it's the vibration going through. We've put little foam pads on the bottom of the microphone stand, and hopefully they were helping. Let's have a look. Red Popman, we'll only get the true sound efficiency if you sing. No, you will regret that. You don't want to hear me sing. I sing in a very peculiar key that nobody else does. If the music's turned up loud enough, I can feel like I'm singing along to it. But actually, if you were to listen to just me, it is hideous. I'm tone deaf, absolutely tone deaf. Let's have a look. Just looking down your comments. I like Transport. Why were you winking up close to the camera? Because I was hinting towards something that I'm not allowed to talk about. But I can't give you any more information. Impatient Tundra, both Revell offerings can be found easily. I'm going to have to look into that. Thanks for that. Tony Britton, think Jenny had something in her eye. Yeah, my eyeball. Anthony, Strathmore Road Junction, good evening to you. How's the loft coming along? It's coming along really well. I'm still laying track. There's a bit more track down. I've got effectively 2 complete circuits that work fine. Nearly got the 3rd circuit in. But I've also been doing a lot of work on... I've laid a new floor as well, which essentially involved laying 1 inch of insulation over the top of the existing floor with a wooden frame, thin plywood over the top, and then underlay and carpet over the top of that. So... not really very sexy to look at. I also started finishing off some of the panelling which I'd missed off as well, sorting out some more of the insulation right up in the apex. So I'm very short on points. For some reason I've got 6 Y points and 2 double slips, but no left and right points. And the issue with this is that I need to dismantle the layout in the shed to salvage all the point work. But I can't do that until a TV film crew has been to film it for something else that I can't talk about. So at the moment, I've stripped some of the electrics off it because you don't see that, and it doesn't need to be particularly working for the filming. But I desperately need the points, and I can't get the points until they've filmed, and I'm not sure when they're filming, which is a pain. Let's have a look. Flymo Chairman 1, the stream was quiet to start with, then jittered back when you turned it up, then went all fine when it caught up with you turning up the sound again. Ah, fine, no problem. That's good to know. Warrington Transporter 2778, Llangollen has a nice preserved railway, nice present ride too. Yeah, Llangollen Railway is another one I'd like to go on. Cottesmore, the 91s are meant to be part of a new, more frequent service opening between London and Blackpool, but I think they are only on test until the timetable change. Philip Page, I love Llangollen. I do as well. I've been to Llangollen quite a few times and never ridden on the railway, but I've been to the station. Been canoeing in the canal as well, actually. It's not far from where Derry, long-term fan of the show, friend of the show, maybe a fan of the show as well, I don't know. He lives close by there, but I couldn't say I've ever been on it. Frank Feely, my wife says I couldn't carry a tune in the bucket. Oh, I'm going to pinch that. That's a good expression. Let's have a look. Mark Wilson, have you ever had the chance to ride in a steam locomotive footplate? Yes, I did. I rode the footplate of City of Wells on the East Lancs Railway, and that was part of a biggest little railway reunion that was organised by somebody whose brother-in-law worked at the East Lancs Railway, so they were able to wrangle it. We got a ride on the train, full line, and we took it in turns to ride the footplate, and I rode the footplate from Bury Bolton Street all the way out to Haywood, and it was a really good trip actually. It was surprisingly cleaner than I thought it would be. You have this sort of image that steam locomotives are hideously dirty, but actually it was quite clean in the cab on that, and it was a lovely journey. There is a video on my YouTube channel, so you can find the cab ride. It may be part of the East Lancs Railway trilogy. There's 3 videos that I did from that trip, but there's a full cab ride in there, and it was great. Let's have a look. Anthony Strathmore Road Junction, are you having DCC? Yes, I am, and I'm keeping excuse me, one of the tracks is isolated by insulating fish plates on the one crossover that connects it to the rest of the system. That's staying DC for now, and that allows me to run the unchipped locomotives without them coming into contact with DCC. I'm going to fit a rotary switch so that it can be flicked over to being DCC if I want to run DCC locos on it, but for the time being I am retaining one DC track, simply because I've got so many unchipped locos. And it also means that when you buy a new locomotive, you can test it on DC, run it in, that kind of a thing. So I think it's quite useful to be able to do that. Leslie Gilpin, are you buffering when you mention the floor? I don't know, because I don't get any indication of if it's buffering or not. But it could have been. Cottesmore, I've got some spare 4mm plywood panels if you need them. That's very generous of you. Thank you very much for that. But I'm good for now. So don't hang on to them just in case I change my mind. But certainly very generous offer of you. But I've pretty much. Oh, is that? What are we going on at there? Hello? No, must be next door. Where were we? Oh, here's the prologue. Oh, yes. So if you find somebody else who wants them, then don't feel you have to hang on to them. Sparky 107, hi to you, and yeah, good day to everybody. I presume you're in from the States. I'm just guessing because you use the term model railroaders, but it's always nice to have people from all the far-flung countries. Well, far-flung from my point of view, but quite local from yours. So anybody who's in Australia, New Zealand, India, France, America, Canada, I'm probably in a far-flung place as far as you're concerned. I like transport. I think she has something to do with GMRC too. You might think that. I couldn't possibly comment. Let's have a look. Anthony Strathmore Road Junction. Have you got the shed up yet, Dave Cottesmore? Oh, yeah, interesting. Walls all sealed, just decorating it now whilst I listen and chat. Oh, brilliant. It's always good, isn't it, when you get this new space and it's like, yeah, I want to build something here. I was like that up in the loft. As soon as I got it all lined, started building the baseboards, and it was like, wow, I got all this space. It's brilliant. It's quite exciting because it kind of allows you to reinvent your modelling as well, I find. Because you're in this new space, you can bring to it all your experience from whatever else you've done previously. In my case, it was the shed layout. But you can make those changes, address the shortfalls that you always had from the previous model railway where you sat there thinking, oh, if only I had done X, Y, or Z. And with the shed, it was just too small. But also storage sidings, it just lacked them. So this new layout has a lot more storage sidings actually on the scenic side of it because it's a marshalling yard. But also I've got a lower level that's just non-scenic storage sidings, and it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's also nice and secure, and so looking forward to it. I really need to crack on with it, but unfortunately it's just so many things sucking my time. Anthony Strathmore Road Junction, you will have to do a video, Cottesmore. Yeah, grand. Do a video. Show us your progress. It's always good to see what other people are up to, because I get a lot of good ideas actually from watching, from looking at other people's models, and it's a bit like writing. I've always said this about writing books. To be a good author, you need to read far more books than you write, so you can you learn from other people, and I think modelling is a lot like that as well. That's why I love going around model railway exhibitions. Let's have a look. Super Monkey 579. I have a train set. Brilliant. We all started with a train set. Mine was Hornby 00, and it just kind of expands from there. It's brilliant. Sparky 107 Canada. A lovely part of the world. Again, so I've visited America. Well, one little bit. I've been to Florida, but I'd love to go and visit Canada as well. As another place I'd love to go and see. My parents have done the Rocky Mountaineer Express. The sort of coast to coast across the Rockies. I'd love to do something like that. Let's have a look. Leslie Gilpin, connecting DC track to DCC. Back in the day, there was a crossover at Piccadilly between 1500 volts DC and 25 kilovolts. And yes, a 76 was once routed across it. I didn't realise that the 1500 volts DC went to Piccadilly. I've never seen a picture of a 76 or a 77 at Piccadilly. I can imagine that when the pantograph touched the 25,000 volts, it would have I'm guessing that locomotive found itself withdrawn from traffic immediately and may well never have returned to traffic, would be my guess. It would have popped the transformer, I suppose. Transformer and all the other electrical gubbins. Cottesmore, and that's exactly why our railways never stop evolving, Jenny. Yeah, definitely. There's no such thing as a finished model railway. There's always tinkering to be done. Mark Wilson, will the new layout be diesel or steam based? I presume you're asking me. It's going to be both. I'm always very flexible with time periods because I model everything from pre-grouping right through to initial sectorization. So I like it to be variable. You know, one day it'll be pre-grouping steam, the next day BR Blue diesels. I like the flexibility. Anthony, Strathmore Road Junction. Don't forget, I love to be on the show again, Cottesmore. I presume then there's a few people here who may or may not be doing GMRC2. So it'll be good to meet. So if some of you are, then it will be really good to... I've let something slip there. It would be very nice for other people on there to, like meet up and stuff and, hang out in the bar at the Ibis Hotel in Reading. Let's have a look. The Growler, Blackwood N-gauge layout. Have you ever thought about modelling an N-gauge? Yeah, I keep getting asked this. I've thought about it. Certainly get a heck of a lot in the space. But I struggle even with 00 now. My eyesight's getting a bit long in the tooth. 40th birthday this weekend. What can I say? Basically N-gauge is just a bit too small for me. I'm already dabbling in O-gauge. Let's have a look. The UK Paul 45. Are you going to use Insulfrog or Electrofrog points on your new layout? I use both, I'll be honest with you. I tend to use the Electrofrog points. If I'm buying brand new points, I buy Electrofrog. But I've acquired a lot of second-hand Insulfrog. So out in the shed, there's a lot of Insulfrog points out there. And they will get recycled into the loft layout. Derry sourced me a lot of points that were a mix between Electrofrog and Insulfrog. So I use both. And in all honesty, the Insulfrogs are generally pretty good. Especially the modern ones are. Super Monkey 579, I saw your old layout and it's better than mine. No, don't say that. Everybody's layout is personal to them. And, I look at my own layout and I don't see it as being anything special. And, I think a lot of people look at their own modelling and go, oh, but everybody else is better. And that's not the case. Self-depreciation is the human condition. So don't talk yourself down. You'll be doing grand and it's a learning process. The more you do it, the better you get at it. The more the more adventurous you get. So it's going to be grand. John Nutman, hiya Jenny, just say hi, hope your week's going okay. We'll have to go as club almost finished. Catch you later. Okay, well look, I hope you had a good night. It's been really great to have you along. You take care and we'll see you next week. It's going to be Monday, supposed to be at 7, but as long as we don't get software issues again. So 7 o'clock, Jenny Monday Club. Everybody's welcome. It's always good to have you along. Hark, I hear the Zoe returneth. Let's have a look. We'll grab you for one of the Train Talk series next, Anthony. The crossover was part of the Woodhead Pass upgrades. Ah, right, okay. Philbin videos. Any update on the Locket sequel? I'll have to ask Zoe. She's so busy. But certainly, we've got plans for more horror films, but just... time is our enemy. Wellmead 3, how is your new layout? It's doing brilliant. Still a lot of work to do, but it's coming along nicely. I like transport, so you are on GMRC2. You might think that. I can't possibly comment. Right. Cottesmore, when's the next Train Talk? What's Train Talk? What is Train Talk? Am I missing some? I presume that's something you run on another channel. I'm always available for crossovers. always available. Well, not like always, as in I have a busy week, but I'm always available to be invited on to like podcasts and stuff. I do a lot of science fiction stuff, at least I certainly used to. I'd love to do the same for Model Railways. Right, let's have a look. Cottesmore, we're doing one at the National Railway Museum on the 30th of March for our meetup. Oh, interesting. Oh, I'm quite interested in that. Actually, that sounds interesting. I want to be in your club. The Growler Blackwood N-gauge layout. Soon won't be able to buy Pico Insulfrog or Electrofrog as they're being phased out in favour of Unifrog. Yes, I got those in O-gauge, and in all honesty, they are brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's basically the convenience of Insulfrog with the functionality of Electrofrog, and they're actually a really great design. At some point, I'm going to have to do a full-on review of the different types of points. But I bought them in O-gauge, and I've been more than happy with them. They are a very good design. So actually, I have to say that if Pico goes over to Unifrog, then it's not a retrograde step. If anything, it's a much better step. Let's have a look. Cottesmore, it's a series I've ran, Jenny. Right. Live Q&A and chat with modelers. Drop me a message. First one back is with New Junction, Graham Fulston. Yeah, I know Graham. And more. Drop me a message. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. I'm gonna have to figure out how to drop you a message. Is there a? It's just. Let me just see. Yeah, I'll have to find your channel. So Cottesmore. So yeah. I'm interested. I like being in clubs. I like being in the clique, hanging with the cool kids. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to do that. That'd be great. Brilliant. Let me try and find your channel. Got you. There we go. Right, I've got to see now. Can I? How do I send you a message? Yeah, how do I send a message? Oh, right, okay, yeah, if you message me, brilliant. I'm a bit of a techno noob, it has to be said. But yeah, no problem. If you send me a message, then come here, you. Sorry, if I look distracted, it's because I am. I'm just let's have a look. Can I send a message here? How on earth do I message you? Doesn't seem to give me an option to. I'll have to have a ponder at that. Tony Britton, Jenny, check out Sparky 107 channel sometime. It's well worth a look. Actually, yeah, go on there. It's Sparky 107. Let's have a look. Yeah, I got you. Cool. There we are. Well, well, there we go. I've done some subscribing. There we are. That way, I will find you. Wherever you hide, I will find you. Sorry, silly voice time. Gosh, did I mention that this podcast thingy is brought to you by booze? Hello. I thought I heard her. How strange. I have to check I'm not being burgled. Right. Let's have a look. Brandon Wood Trains. Hello from Colorado. Hello to you too. Anywhere near Boulder, Colorado. It's the only city I can think of in Colorado. It's where is it Mork and Mindy was set there. I've created a ceiling railroad in HO scale. Sits on crown moulding, running both DC and DCC. Hugs. Oh, hugs to you too. That sounds interesting. So it basically runs around the coving, as it were, above the doors. That's an interesting idea. Mark Wilson, got to go now. Thanks for the chit-chat tonight. Fish and chips are here. Bye till next week. Well, bye to you too. It's been great to have you along. Don't forget to tune in next week. Back again, hopefully at 7 if the software plays ball. And we'll be doing it at 7 o'clock GMT for all of you who aren't in the UK. Always good to have you along. Also, don't forget, you can check me out on Patreon. And I didn't bring any of my books in, but also some of my books are still available. Do a hunt for me. Jennifer E. Kirk on Amazon. They are great books, even if I say so myself. I've got a box under the bed. I need to shift them. Come on, people, buy my books. Let's have a look. Cottesmore, you might need to subscribe. I'll drop you a message. Check out some of the previous ones. Yeah, I've just subscribed to you, so I'll be able to revisit that. So I've got a record. I also have subscribed to Sparky 107 as well on your recommendations. So there we go. Derek Grant, when are Pico starting the Unifrog points? Because I'm swapping Insulfrog to Electrofrog. It's a few to swap. I don't know. I've bought some new points. I bought 2 short right-hand points, and they were conventional Electrofrog, and that was in 00. But when it came to O-Gauge, I bought 3 O-Gauge points recently for the Garden Railway, and they were all Unifrog. So I presume if you buy from a high traffic outlet, you'll get Unifrog. But if you go to a model shop that has quite a lot of older stock in stock, you may find that you're getting Insulfrog or Electrofrog, depending on what you ask for. So, look before you buy, I guess. Brockwell Lane, sorry I'm late, been modelling all day long. Day off work, well spent. Oh, it's grand, isn't it? And time just gets away from you. But don't worry, you're not late. You can always go and re-watch this back. It's not a problem. I was actually half an hour late for my own podcast, so it's fine. Warrington, so what was it? I like transport. Alert, alert. Jenny's being burgled. Alert, alert. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Warning, warning. Jenny's being burgled. I don't know. I think she's just being quiet somewhere. Zoe! Oh, it's you. We're not being burgled then. Because you never came up and said hello.
I was feeding the cat.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm sorry, but the cat was bothering. So...
The cat always bothers you. Oh, right, okay. You
had the same idea as I did. Are you sponsored by Plonk again?
Yeah, sponsored by Plonk. So, did you buy some of these then?
Yes. They were £1 each, of course I did.
Where from?
The Co-op.
Well, there were like 3 for £5.
Well, I got 4.
What happens when
£1 each.
When you get 4?
Yeah.
On the shelf it said 3 for £5.
Well, on the shelf when I went in it said £1 each.
Huh! They waited until after I bought some to lower the price. Oh dear. I can't believe that. The local shop waited until after I bought a load of these to lower the price. What are the... Oh. Warrington Train Spotter 2778. Have you watched Everard Junction? Latest update is model railway's quite good. Yeah, I am a subscriber, I have to say. Tony Britton, podcast running on Magnus. Now that's what I call a cunning plan. Yes, Baldrick, it's a cunning plan. It's so cunning you could put it in a cardboard shirt and call it a weasel. I like transport. Jenny, what do you think of my channel? I'll be doing some Steam videos soon. I think we had a look before, didn't we? I'm subscribed to like 200 different channels. So when people ask me about a specific channel I'm subscribed to, it's like, not sure. But yeah, certainly I will check that out. Let's have a look. Leslie Gilpin, in N-Gauge, I think only medium radius are Unifrog. I'm going to have to investigate that actually, because if they're out in 00, I'm going to start buying them, because I think that they are a really good idea. In O-Gauge, they've worked out really well for me. Derek Grant, I go into the model shop, he says, what points do you need now? Oh gosh, yeah, that gets expensive really quick. One of my recommendations is buy job lots of second-hand but serviceable Pico Streamline points off the bay, off eBay. And what you find is that you can get some pretty good job lots of stuff. It's how I get things like, I've never bought a double slip full price, never. I think the most I've ever paid for a double slip is about £5. You just get them second hand, and they're usually all right. Just look at the pictures, look at the descriptions, and you're grand. Jesper Behringer, hi Jenny, just found your channel and I'm working my way through your videos. Oh, grand, thank you. It's always good to find people who working their way through watching everything. There's a lot of videos on there. It's like 500 plus now. I lose count of how many there are. But I'm going to have to go in a bit because I am going to be having a pizza in the next 10 minutes because I just sent Zoe off to put it in the oven.
Feel free to continue.
Don't do that.
Feel free to continue. I'm going to boot up Minecraft and just waste my night.
Have you put the pizzas in?
No?
Put the pizzas in. I'm starving.
All right.
You can't get this.
Why does the slave die off?
Overwork. She walked into that one, didn't she? Right. Anywho. Yeah, look, anyway, we're going to have to round this up because I'm drunk and we were supposed to be talking about media, model railways and media. What do you think about the portrayal of our hobby in the media? There's a lot of TV programmes been coming out recently. Started with things like Biggest Little Railway. There's also the James May Challenge. But more recently, Behind the Scenes at Hornby with James May. We've had GMRC Series 1. GMRC Series 2 is filming later this year. So what do you think? Do you think we're being portrayed in a favourable light? Do you think that it not so much? Do you also think that the competition style of some of these programmes is beneficial to our hobby or detrimental? I'd love to hear what you think about that. Flymo Chairman 1, let's get down the co-op, folks. Quid a beer. I mean, like, they were 3 for £5 when I went in, and I thought I was getting a bargain. She said, I got 4 for £4. Like, what? What? But yeah, I'd be very interested to know what you think about our portrayal in the media. And is this something that is our image changing for the better? Is it changing for the worse? And do you feel that the people who are getting on TV, are they the right people to represent us or otherwise? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I'm going to be rounding off this live stream now. So, unfortunately, your comments will sort of... I don't know what happens when I finish streaming. I think the chat room just sort of pauses and you can't add any more to it. But certainly when this video goes up as an actual proper video, you'll be able to comment on it. But yeah, Philip Page, you're right. We're still portrayed as geeks. Unfortunately, TV world tends to be very... they deal in stereotypes. But it's our job really to re-educate them. Not sort of like sit them in a classroom or something, but by being involved with these programs and just sort of gently steering the coverage, I think that we can up our stock, as it were. We can make our portrayal better, and certainly that's how I always aim to do it. I aim to make sure that we get fair portrayal. And yeah, you're right, Philip Page and Brockwell Lane. The world does need geeks. Geeks is probably a bit of a derogatory term, but essentially the world needs people who make things, who are creative, who can fix things, make stuff work. Because a lot of the skills that we have as railway modelers, they're transferable skills. It's easy to forget that a lot of the things that we do in model form are actually really useful transferred to other areas. So, model railways encompass electrical stuff, They encompass, the creative aspect of planning, a lot of planning. They also encompass woodwork. They encompass all kinds of crafts, painting. There's quite a lot of different skills that come into play in railway modelling. And, I think that it's very easy for people outside the hobby to think, oh, you just sort of sat in a room playing trains. Excuse me. But I think, the onus is on us to show people that isn't what it's all about. There's a lot of other skills at play. And yeah, you're absolutely right, Brockwell Lane. Movie special effects people equals modelers. Yeah. And, I've been, in a previous job, I did a lot of work with film and television with a company called PKE Lighting. And, I went and saw movie sets, and they are incredible models. You're building a model full size. I did a series called The Collection, and they built a model of a Parisian streets and back streets and yards on the back lot of the studios. But it was all plywood scaffolding when you went round the back. But on the actual street, it bore up to scrutiny. It was incredible. I like transport. Hey everyone, look, someone disliked. Why would someone dislike such a good stream video? I don't know. But some people do that. They like to be the first to dislike. I don't know. What people don't realise is actually YouTube only counts interactions. It doesn't actually differentiate between like and dislike. So by clicking dislike, you're actually upping the interaction level. It's just the way it works. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Leslie Gilpin. There is always someone who dislikes. You see that, and there's some incredible videos on YouTube. My stuff's fairly amateur by comparison, but there's videos on there. Like, if you go and find, there's a video called Turbo Killer by Carpenter Brute, and it's a pop video, and there's a lot of model making skills in that. I mean, from the purely model making in the film world, it's very interesting. But there's people who've disliked that, and you think, why? There's people who've disliked episodes of Time Team that are up there. What's not to like? But, you're absolutely right, Leslie. There's always somebody out there who's... I think Terry Wogan put it really well one time. He said there's a certain type of person who sits by the radio just waiting to be offended because they really love complaining. But I'm going to leave it at that. And if you've got any more comments, if you wait until the video's processed, it'll go up as an ordinary video. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about our portrayal in the media. Whether you think it's good, whether you think it's bad, what you think it needs to improve, whether the caliber of programs that we're getting at the moment depicting us are good or bad. But there we go. It's really only left for me to say, don't forget you can support the channel through Patreon. If you so desire. You can also buy my books. It probably gets pretty boring. It's like when you watch Zero Punctuation and Yahtzee's always plugging a book. Like, do you like jam? Then buy my book about jam. My book's not about jam. It's like sci-fi, fantasy, horror type things. But yeah, you can buy my books. Amazon have them. Waterstones have them, that kind of thing. That's a really nice comment. Alan Corley's trains. Hi Jenny, there's nothing to dislike about your channel. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. That is brilliant. That is great. Fly Mode Chairman 1, last comment. There's a lot of grumble about the trains up north here. My daughter is a regular user of the new timetabled service. Lots of we shouldn't have closed the railways. Good night, Jenny. Catch up again. Well, good night to you. Good night to all of you. It's been great having you all along. Absolutely thoroughly enjoyed this. Loved answering your questions, and I'm just really glad that you've chosen to stop in here and listen to what I've got to say. Don't forget to like this video, share it too, and also subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. And we'll be having a new video up every Wednesday and Friday. And also, don't forget, back here again next Monday, 7 o'clock in the evening, GMT. So be here or be definitely not some kind of triangular shape. I don't know. You all take really good care of yourself. I'm going to go and have a pizza. Pizza.